So this is our course overview video. We're going to take a look at the syllabus, the assignments, and the grading policy for the course. So here is the homepage of our Canvas shell. So we're first going to go here and take a look at our syllabus. The top of the syllabus, you will see my office hours are posted. You will also see the email address. If you scroll down, you'll see a copy of our textbook. You are not required to have a hard copy of the textbook for this course. When you get your Hawks link set up, which I will talk about that a little bit more here in just a minute, it will have a copy of the ebook within there, and that is all that you need for this course. You will need a calculator for this course. We do have some at the NMJC library available for checkout. You will need at least a scientific calculator, but a graphing calculator is also allowed. One new thing that you will see at NMJC this year is these icons, the 3, 2, and 1. Those are specifically stating the AI policy for each assignment. So you should have a Canvas course that reviews what the AI policy is at NMJC, and it will show you these 3 different color icons and what is appropriate for use with them. So we will have every assignment in this course assigned a value for AI, and I will go over what that will look like. So the first assignment that you have are called Hawks Lesson Certifies. These are in the online Hawks platform, and I'm going to show you that after we go through the syllabus. These are also what we would call your homeworks that you have to do every week, and they are worth 15% of your grade. You can access them through Canvas directly, and you'll have some due every week, and they are all due on Sunday. So all of our assignments, except for in-class, midterm and final, and the project, will all be due on Sundays. For the Hawks Lesson Certifies, you are allowed to use online AI tools to help you with math. That just means that you can put the problem in AI to help you generate an answer, but you should ask it to generate the steps to get to the answer so that you can follow those steps and learn the math that you need to learn. Otherwise, when you get to your tests, you are not going to understand the problem and you're not going to know how to do it. So AI here is used, but it is used as a tool to help you learn the material so that you can then do it on your own. Once we complete a chapter, we will have chapter tests assigned. Those are also online, done at home through the Hawks platform. The chapter tests are, you get 2 attempts. Your best attempt will be kept, and they are timed. So you have a lot of time. They're not meant to be, they're not meant to force you to do them quickly, but they are meant to force you to do them in one sitting. So when you open the chapter test, you need to complete it once it's opened. Here, the AI is a tool. That means that you can use resources. You cannot ask it to do the problem for you, but you can ask for formulas, for did I get the right answer. You may also use your notes, your calculator, all your resources for the chapter test, and those are 25% of your grade. Back to the certifies for a minute. When you do those in Hawks, those are not one and done. You may go in, start those, leave, come back to them. But the chapter test, once you open it, you must complete it. You will have a critical thinking project. That is going to be a project that you work on outside of class. You will take one single topic that we have learned this semester, and you will use it to make a real-world decision. So I'll give you a lot more detail about that and record some videos just specific to that project later in the semester. It is worth 20% of your grade, and again, you can use AI to help you brainstorm, to generate some ideas, but you should not use it to write the project completely. The final part of your grade are assessments in this class. That will be 1 midterm and 1 final, each worth 20%, and that is a proctored test. What that means that you will need to schedule those tests in the New Mexico Junior College Testing Center, or at a testing center in a similar college, environment if you're in a different town. If those don't work for you, you can reach out to me and we can see what other options we can come up with. But ultimately what we want is for you to take a paper pencil test that is proctored For this test, you will be able to use a calculator and a note card, but no other resources. All right. The next section of the syllabus is the same that you have in all of your courses, so you can read through that. I'm sure you will see it many times this semester, just your general NMJC policies. And then at the very end, again, here's the artificial intelligence AI policy and a little more detail about what the zones mean, zone 1, 2, and 3. When you get to the very bottom of the syllabus, you will see our course outline. You'll see the content that we are covering basically each week. So week 1, starting this week, you will need to look at chapter 1 and work through those problems. Start working through those problems. All right, let's go back to our Canvas shell. The other place where you will get almost all of your information will be modules. So when you open modules, at the top you will see the introductory information for the class. You will see that all of your Hawks work must be completed by December 4th and your final must be completed by December 9th. Then you will have modules broken down by chapter. So in chapter 1, for each section, you're going to have a resource tab, and then you're going to have a link that is going to take you to the Hawks assignments. So when you open the resource tab, what you should see is printable blank notes. So these are mostly used for my in-person classes. However, you can print them out as you are working through the videos and take notes if you like. The class notes are ones that are filled in, so I'll open that one for you. So you can see that these are the basic ideas from the textbook taken and put into note form. You will see that there's some places where I've highlighted things and drawn things. That's what we mean by filled in. So the blank notes don't have these written in things, and then there's some helps along the way in the class notes. And then you're going to have videos for each of the homework sections. So these are practice questions like you will see in Hawks to do for your homework. Not all of these videos are recorded by me. We share them in the math department, so when you open them, some may be me, some may be another professor, just in case you're wondering. I am working on updating them, and we'll be posting new ones throughout the semester, so you can just be on the lookout for those. Okay, so then after you look at the resources, the next tab is the actual assignment. So this is the first assignment. Right here it tells you to click to open in a new window. So if we do that, that will connect you to the Hawks Learning platform, and it should open up a tab that is specific to that section. So this first tab is your textbook. If you would like to read about the topic or look at some of the notes, you would open the red tile, and it's going to give you, like I said, the textbook. You can exit that once you've read through it. The practice problems are not for a grade. They are there just like it sounds, for you to practice. It's going to give you problems like you will see in the next section, which is graded. So this is just practice. It is just for you to make sure you understand the content. You also can skip problems if you're just looking for a specific one. There is a tutor button. The tutor button is going to walk you step by step through how to work the problem. So that if you're stuck, it will help you learn how to do the problem. Once you've practiced all the problems, you think you understand how to do it, you understand the work, you can either save and exit or exit without saving, depending on whether you're done or whether you're coming back. And then it's going to let you open the Certify. You will see at the bottom of every Certify that there is a mastery level. To pass this Certify, you have to get 75% of the problems right. If you get 75% of the problems right, then you get 100. Certifies for homework are either a 0 or 100. You either do the work and you get 100, or you don't and you get a 0. And you can continue to do the certifies over and over until you get to that level. So in order to pass the assignment, you have to get at least 75% correct. But again, it's going to look very similar to the practice. You're going to open it up. You're going to have these problems. You're going to submit answer. If you submit a wrong answer, it will tell you to please try again. This heart up here lets you know how many you can miss, right? You can miss 3. So if I continue to miss this problem, it will let me go on to the next problem, but you will lose one of these. It'll drop to a 2. If it drops to 0, it's going to kick you out of Certify. That does not mean that you get a 0 on the assignment. That means that you have to go back to practice, You have to redo the practice to make sure you understand what you're doing, and then come back and try certify again. So the certifies you can continue to do until you get the 75% to get 100 on that homework grade. If you turn them in late, there will be penalties, so then you will drop below 100. Okay, so those are the Hawks certifies. When you log into Hawks for the first time, if you have a previous login, you should be able to use that. It will connect you to the course. If not, it'll prompt you to create one. You have 14 days of free access to our course material. However, if you do not purchase the material, which will give you a code to put in, you will lose access after those 14 days. And that means you will not be able to complete your homework and the other assignments that you have. So just make sure that you get the course bought from Hawks online prior to the 14 days when it will cut you out. Okay. Then at the end of a section, so we have chapter 1 and 2 grouped together, you will work through all those homework problems on the assigned dates, which are, right there in the link. You will have a chapter test. The chapter test is also in Hawks. When you open it up, again, it reminds you of the AI zone. You will open it in a new window. And here is where you will start the test. It tells you that it is the highest of all attempts. You get 2 attempts to take the test, and the time limit is 120 minutes. So you get 2 hours to complete it. So that shouldn't rush you through it. It should be plenty of time for you to complete the test, but it is timed. So like I said, once you start it, you finish it, and you need to be able to finish it within 2 hours. Right now it is locked because I have not completed the certifies for this chapter test yet. You do have to complete the certifies before you can complete the chapter test. All right, so those are your Hawks assignments. Let me go back to our modules. So if you just work through the modules as you go, again, everything is there in order. Due dates are there. Once, like, we get to midterm, you'll have midterm links here. There is a due date here, but that is not, you cannot take that in Hawks. So if you click on that link, it's going to look like it's going to take you to Hawks, but it should just pop up a window. Yeah, it's just going to pop up here. As to when it's due. It's not an actual assignment. You have to take that in person, paper, pencil. All right. I think that is a pretty good overview of the course. So you have Hawks certifies that are due each week. You have chapter tests that are due at the end of a chapter. And then we'll have our midterm and final in class. And then you'll see at the very beginning, we'll have our critical thinking project. And I'll get you a lot more information about that as the semester goes. So if you have any questions, you need anything, please let me know.